Few days before we have proved this identity. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now let me give you combinatorial proof. Of the identity. It is essentially measuring the same quantity into. This principle you have applied for proving Pythagoras theorem by four triangle method. Four triangles in a square method. This proof of Pythagoras theorem, you found out area of square by a plus b bracket square, and you found out area of each part of this square and added, and hence you ended up getting identity a square plus b square is equal to c square. So when you calculate the same quantity in two different ways, the quantity remains aside. I mean, because you are equating the quantity one way this way and another this way, and therefore the quantity disappears, you end up getting identity. Similarly, let us do this. Suppose I have a set A where you have total elements n, and you have yet another element b with you. Okay, now you are supposed to see how these new additions are disturbing me, and you don't come on time. 5 minutes now. Question 1. In how many ways we can choose uh, okay, we can choose 9. In how many ways yeah, we can choose our objects out of n plus 1 objects. There are n A's and 1 B. So n plus 1 objects. And suppose we want to choose r objects out of these n plus 1 objects, then the answer is n plus choose r. That is what is our RHS. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Another way of doing the same thing is you want to choose r objects out of elements of this set a1 to an and b. Suppose you choose r objects out of a1 to an, all a's. So case 1, all a's. In how many ways you can do this? All a's and choose r weights. And case 2, or case 2, 1b and n minus 1 r's. That way I can choose R elements. If we choose all R out of all A's out of n A's, that can be done in n choose R ways. But if we choose one R, one B and n minus 1 A's, then it can be done, one B can be chosen in one way and n minus R can be chosen, no, not n minus R's. Sorry.
Sir,
R minus 1 A's. R minus 1 A's. 1B and R minus 1 A's. So here I can say B absent. Here I can say B present. Therefore, 1B can be chosen in one way and R minus 1 be chosen out of n choose R minus 1 ways. So this or this will give me total R objects out of n plus 1 objects, and therefore you have n plus 1 choose R, which is RHS, equals n choose R plus n choose R minus. That is the combinatorial proof of the identity. Okay, we have also proved this identity. Now I give you a couple of minutes to think about combinatorial proof for this identity.
sir, does combinatorial proof means by using choose notation?
Uh, Not really. Combinatorial proof is an experiment that you need to set up, by which if you count the same quantity in two different ways, you get the desired identity. First, suppose I go to vegetable and I am supposed to buy some vegetables home. Every vegetable I have two choices to buy or not, therefore RHS. 2 for first vegetable, 2 for second vegetable, and so on, 2 for last vegetable, therefore 2 raised to n RHS I will get. Okay, how do I get LHS? Suppose I decide not to carry any vegetable home. In how many ways I can do it? N choose 0 ways, because there are n vegetables in the shop. Or I can choose, I can say, okay, I will carry one vegetable home. How many ways I can do it? And choose one ways. Or I will say, let me carry two vegetables home and choose two ways. Or I may say, okay, once for all, let us take all vegetables home and choose n ways. So eventually I will carry some vegetables home, but if I count this experiment in two different ways, I will get an identity because the experiment has disappeared. You are just counting. One way of counting is n choose 0, n choose 1, n choose 2 all added. Another way of counting is choice for every vegetable, yes, no, 2 raised to n. Okay. So therefore we also proved this identity, n choose 0 plus n choose 2 plus n choose 4 plus dot dot dot, all even ones, is equal to 2 raised to n minus 1. Can you now think of, having understood what do we mean by combinatorial proof, can each one of you design an experiment by which you get RHS and LHS by just counting the same experiment in two different ways, counting the same quantity in two different ways? Give you a couple of minutes. I will consider the same experiment of n vegetables in vegetable shop and I am supposed to take home even number of vegetables. If I go home without any vegetable, 0 is even, I am okay. If I go with 2 vegetables, I am okay. If I go with 4 vegetables, I am okay. So if I want to go home with 0 vegetables, in how many ways I can go? And choose 0 ways. Fair enough. Or if I want to go home with 2 vegetables, I can go and choose 2 ways. Fair enough. Or n choose 4 ways. Fair enough. Or so and so, whatever, n is odd or even, n choose n, choose n minus 1. Depending upon n is for odd or even, the last term will be there in LHS. Understood? Very good. Second, I go to each vegetable and ask whether you want to come with me in my home. Two choices, yes or no, for the first vegetable. Very good. And two choices for second. Very good. And two choices for third. Very good. Dot dot dot. I go to n minus 1th vegetable. Ask whether you want to come with me. Two choices, yes or no. Now I have got some vegetables in my basket. Suppose they are even number. From 1 to n minus 1, when I kept on asking and picking up those vegetables, I really do not know. I count and check whether they are even or odd. Suppose they are even, then I should not ask nth vegetable whether you want to come or not. The choice is only one, not to come. But if I have odd number of vegetables in my basket, then again I will not ask nth vegetable whether wants to come or not. I will have to pick it up. So only one choice. Therefore, we have 2 raised to n minus 1 in RHS and n choose even addition in LHS. Okay, the same logic can be given. Let me complete the recording. Same logic can be given to this. It is just the question of whether you are taking odd number of vegetables home or even number of vegetables home. Answer is going to be 2 raised to n minus 1. Next problem. N plus 1. 1 into n plus 1 plus 2 into n plus 2. N choose 2. Sorry. 1 into n choose 1 plus 2 into n choose 2 plus 3 into n choose 3 plus dot 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 plus n into n is equal to n into 2 raised to n minus 1. Prove this identity in at least two different ways. Material way, one algebraic way. I wait for some time. Combinatorial proof of this is concerned, let us consider a set of n players. There are n players from which we are supposed to make a team, and we are supposed to choose a captain of that team. That is what is a simple job. There are n students in front of us or n players with us. Out of n players, we have to create a team of r players. We don't know, r could be 1, r could be n, r could be any number between 1 to n, and then after doing that we are supposed to choose the captain of that team. Okay, so maybe the RHS way, you choose the captain first. There are n players in front of you, you choose the captain. In how many ways you can have a captain of your team? N players, therefore n ways. And then you start selecting members of your team, and every member will have a choice to be part of the team or not. Okay, therefore 2 raised to n minus 1. So n number of ways you can choose captain. This is captain first. N number of ways you choose captain, and then remaining players from remaining n minus 1 number of players. Okay, that is how you will get the team. Suppose team is of 5. Team is of 5 players. Okay, then you choose captain first, That can be done in n ways, and you have to choose 4 more players out of 2. So every player will have choice, yes or no, like this for 5. So 5, I mean, suppose it is a 5-member team here. Okay, what is LHS? You choose team first and then captain, because it is a playing captain. It is not non-playing captain. It is a playing captain. So captain has to be part of team. So if you happen to choose team of 1 member, the same person will be captain. If you happen to choose team of 2 members, then there are 2 candidates for being captain, 2 ways to choose 1 way. If you choose team of 3 members, 3 choose 1 way. If you choose team of n members, n choose 1 way of choosing captain. So team first, captain first. These are the 2 different approaches. There are n players and you can make a team of r people and select captain out of that. I hope you have understood. Let me give you another proof. Second, this is very simple. First of all, let me make it symmetric. Right now it is not symmetric because I don't have a term 0 n choose 0 here. What is the value of this term 0 n choose 0?
0.
Or I can always add
0.
0. So I can always add that to restore my symmetry. And therefore second proof is 0 n choose 0 plus 1 n choose 1 plus 2 n choose 2 plus dot 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 plus n plus n minus 1 n choose n minus 1 plus n choose n. That is what is our LHS. Okay, reverse and add. What is the last term? n choose n plus n minus 1 n minus 1 plus n minus 2 n choose n minus 2 plus dot 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 plus last term will be 0 n choose 0. Second last term will be 1 n choose 1. Do you understand? Reverse and add. I just change the sequence of all terms and wrote below them, and I am supposed to add them now. So if I look at first term and first term of these two, practically n choose 0 and n choose n is same. N choose 1 and n choose n minus 1 is same. N choose 2 and n choose 2 is same. Therefore, I can take out n choose 0 common, and inside bracket I will get n plus 0 is n. Second, n choose 1 will come out common. Inside bracket n minus 1 plus 1 is n plus n choose 2 plus dot 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 plus n choose n, bracket complete. This is what I have LHS. Now LHS plus LHS. So 2 times LHS. Reverse and add. Therefore LHS plus reverse and added LHS. Therefore 2 times LHS is this. But then what is this rectangular bracket? We have already proved it. N into 2 raised to n. Rectangular bracket is 2 raised to n. Therefore LHS is equal to n into 2 raised to n upon 2, which is minus 1, which is RHS. Okay, this is the simplest proof of this identity, reverse and add. And there will be one more proof where you really figure out what do you mean by n choose r, sigma n choose r, and get it. That I will explain just now. Okay, but you can write it first. So now let us write the given problem in sigma notation. Sigma r goes from 1 to n, r n choose r is equal to n into 2 raised to n minus 1. Okay, that is how. Now it is critical. I might also struggle. You have to pay proper attention. This implies sigma r goes from 1 to n. Let me put r here as it is. And let me write down meaning of n choose r, which is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Okay, which is equal to sigma r goes from 1 to n. Now I can cancel this r from this place to this place. You see whether you understand. R can be cancelled, and in numerator you have n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r minus 1 factorial. This r gets cancelled with the first term over here. Understood? Right. Now we are supposed to take this n out, which is a constant. N is given to us. Therefore, we will write this as sigma r goes from 1 to n. N factorial can be written as n into n minus 1 factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r minus 1 factorial. Can we do this?
Yes, sir.
Because n into n minus 1 factorial is n factorial. Now, these two denominators add up to n minus 1. Is that right? What we can do is, we can write this equal to sigma. Now n is constant, that comes out. R goes from 1 to n minus 1 choose r minus 1. This is what we can write. Okay. Now I am going to adjust this term such that we know what is our first identity. N choose 0 plus n choose 1 plus dot 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 plus n choose n is equal to 2 raised to n. This is our identity. And in sigma notation, if we want to write down this identity, we get sigma r goes from 0 to n choose r is equal to 2 raised to n. So this is our identity. And suppose n is n minus 1, then sigma r goes from 0 to n minus 1 choose r is equal to 2 raised to n minus 1. See whether you understand this. See whether you understand this. From here I get here. This is identity which is proved. This is first identity. Replacing n by n minus 1. We have to replace n by n minus 1 everywhere in this identity. We get n minus 1 choose r is equal to 2 raised to n minus 1. And now this is what is 2 raised to n minus 1. That is what we are aiming for in RHS. Therefore, if I could show that this identity and this identity is same, then our job is over. Okay. So here that I will do now is I will do push pull. N sigma r goes from 0 to n minus 1 choose r. They are equal. These two guys are equal. Because I pull my index back by 1, I push my index inside by 1. And there are totally n terms. So if I start with 0, I should stop at n minus 1. And I can make r minus 1 r. R here it is, r starts from 1. I will start it from 0. Now this identity is n into 2 raised to n minus 1. is equal to RHS. Spend some time. I mean, you will not understand it quickly unless and until you really work on these numbers. N choose 0. That is the last identity we will do. N choose 0 bracket square plus n choose 1 square plus n choose 2 bracket square plus dot 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 plus n choose n bracket square is equal to 2n choose n. Prove this. Okay, let us solve a bigger problem than this. Then we will arrive at why this identity is true. The problem is as follows. Consider set A which has m elements. Consider set B which has n elements. And choose k elements from A union B. Now yesterday we did not do union. What do we mean by union? Put everything inside. So A union B is A1, A2, AM, comma B1, B2, BN. Everything that is in A and also in B, that is A union B. And what is A intersection B? Only those which are common. In this case, there is nothing common. All are distinct. Elements in A are distinct than elements in B. There is nothing common. But suppose if I have set A is equal to 1, 3, 5 and set B as 2, 3, 4, then A union B would look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, the element present 2 times need to be written only once. And A intersection B is going to be 3. That is the only element which is available in both.
But it is 13 comma 5. So first, so in set A it is 13 comma 5.
Right, 1 comma 3 comma 5. Okay, so A union B is considered total elements are there m plus n, and how many you are supposed to choose? K. Easy. M plus n, choose K. Is that right? That is one way of doing it. However, second way of doing it is, if you choose one element from set A, m choose 1, then you have to choose n choose k minus 1 from B, correct? Or if you choose 2 elements, maybe we should start from 0. Sorry about it.
Can you please repeat? I got disconnected from M1.
I am repeating only. M plus n choose k is one way of choosing k objects out of m plus n, and another way is choose 0 from A, and hence you have to choose all k from n, or you choose 1 from A and you have to choose k minus 1 from B, or you choose 2 from A and choose n in k minus 2 plus r, and it is this time it is easy to write in sigma. R goes from 0 to k. You are supposed to choose maximum k elements. First is going to be m choose r, n choose k minus r. Summation of this from 0 to k is going to be equal to m plus n choose k. Check whether you understand. First time you have to understand. Out of m elements from A and out of n elements from B, in total, if you want to choose k elements, m plus n choose k. If you want to choose 0 from first, then k from second, 1 from first, then 2, k minus 1 from second, 2 from first, k minus, all k from first, then 0 from second, right? This identity is known as Vandermont's identity. Vandermont's identity. He was the first to think about this, and hence this identity is known as Vandermont's identity. So combinatorial way or maybe choose notation way of proving this identity, I have already explained it to you. Second way of looking at this identity is this identity is consider 1 plus x raised to m. How will it look like? M choose 0 plus m choose 1 x plus m choose 2 x square plus dot 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 plus m choose m x raised to m. Correct? 1 plus x raised to n is equal to n choose 0 plus n choose 1 x plus n choose 2 x square plus dot 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 plus n choose n x raised to n. We know this. Now if we multiply these two identities and look at coefficient of x raised to k. If we multiply these two identities, then in LHS we will get 1 plus x raised to n into 1 plus x raised to n, which is equal to 1 plus x raised to m plus n, and it will have binomial expansion, some binomial expansion. And if you want to look at coefficient of x raised to k, of course the binomial expansion will give that very quickly. M plus n choose k is the coefficient of this. Now I don't know how good are you in multiplication of polynomials. This is a polynomial in x raised to m, mth degree and nth degree. We will learn that eventually in 9th standard course itself. But let me give you a very small example. 1 plus 2x minus 3x square is to be multiplied by 2 minus x plus 2x square minus x cube. Okay, and if I say find coefficient of say x raised to 4, in this product. So let me directly explain without wasting much time. I want x raised to 4. What is the coefficient? So if I take 1, maximum I can take x cube, so I will not be able to produce x raised to 4. Therefore 1 into x cube is not useful. 2x into minus x cube will give me x4. Therefore first is minus 2. This multiplied by this. And then who else can give me x raised to 4? Minus 3x square into 2x square. So minus 6. These are the two which will give me x raised to 4, and hence coefficient of x raised to 4 is minus 8. If I ask you find the coefficient of x raised to 3 in this product, then what all you will collect? We will collect 1 into x raised to 3. So x raised to 3. 1 into minus x raised to 3. So minus 1. Sorry, not comma. Then 2x into 2x square. So plus 4. And minus 3x square into minus 1. Which is plus 3. So coefficient of x raised to 3 will be 6 in this expansion, right? So now one bracket is this and another bracket is this, and we are supposed to find out coefficient of x raised to k. So from first bracket, if we choose choose 0, that is the coefficient of x raised to 0, then we will have to choose coefficient of x raised to k from the second bracket, which is n choose k. Yes or no? Plus m choose 1 into n choose k minus 1 plus m choose 2 into n choose k minus 2 dot 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 plus m choose k into n choose k minus 2, that is 0, n minus k minus k is 0. Now this identity is going to be equal to m plus n choose k. Comparing coefficient of x raised to k in the expansion of this. Right? That is what is your Vandermonts identity. Now, how can we make use of Vandermonts identity to prove our identity? Now, I think it is easy. I think it is easy for you. Let me have that identity also on board. Yes. We are supposed to prove this identity. So it is easy now. Instead of taking two sets of one m object and another n object, what we can do is both the sets are of n objects. That makes it 2n. That makes it 2n here. And we will choose n objects out of it. That means we will look at coefficient of x raised to n. I think, let me check how many of you have understood now. And start writing from it. Find the number of ways in which (74) distinct objects can be distributed in 8 boxes such that 5 boxes receive 10 objects each, and 3 boxes receive 3 boxes receive how many? 8 each. Question 1, if boxes are identical, question 2, if boxes are distinct. I wait for 5, 7, 8 minutes and start discussing. If at all you arrive at answer, show me the answer in factorial notation. Record. Answer for 1. I will explain later on because he will come after some time and ask me to explain again. Therefore, I will just write down the answer. There are 8 boxes, 8 objects in 3 boxes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
10 objects each, 5 boxes. 10 objects each in 5 boxes, 8 objects each in 3 boxes, and 3 factorial and 5 factorial. This is the answer for first, if boxes are identical. And answer for second, if the boxes are not identical, they are distinct. I mean, just permute the boxes in 8 different ways. 74 factorial into 8 factorial upon 10 factorial raised to 5, 8 factorial raised to 3, 3 factorial and 5 factorial. These are the 2 answers. Now, if you have got them correct by proper thinking, you are doing good. In how many ways I can arrange 74 distinct objects? 74 factorial ways. That is what this factor is. Now what we are going to do is, there are total 8 boxes such that 5 boxes have 10 objects each. So 9th object, 10th object. I will put first this 10 in box number 1. Now in any box, box number 1 I am not saying because boxes are identical. So these people go in one box, from 11 to 20 go in another box. Like that, there will be 10 objects each, total 5 boxes. So dot dot dot, we will have 41 to 50. This is your, I mean, I'm not labeling the box, but 1, 2 and 5. Correct? Then you have 3 boxes who receive 8 objects each. I do this partition 51 to 58. They go in the next box and next box. That is all done. Now the problem is that these first 10 objects are in the first box. Okay, suppose that box is like this, and there are object, this is object number 1, this is object number 2, all are distinct. They are sitting. So now it is not important how they are sitting in the box. They are in one box is important to us. Arey, samajhte ka? They are,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
that is important to us. How they are arranged in that one box, starting from 1 to 10, or 2 to 10 followed by 1, or 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 first followed by 2. So in the box, they will permute amongst themselves, that is internal permutation of 10 objects in first box will happen in 10 factorial ways, right? And therefore that much our answer is bigger. This 74 factorial is too big answer because these 10 objects will permute amongst themselves in the first box in 10 factorial ways. Therefore we must divide by 10 factorial. We must divide by one more 10 factorial because of box 2. Because of box 3 we must divide by 10 more factorial, and so on. Therefore 10 factorial raised to 5. Similar argument, internal permutation, 8 factorial here, 8 factorial here, 8 factorial. Therefore 8 factorial raised to 3. That is what you have to divide because it is repetition of the permutation. Now, because boxes are identical, you really do not know. This is 10 object wala box, 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 and this is 10 objects wala box. They are now distinct because they have, first box will have 1 to 10, second box will have 11 to 20. Therefore these boxes are identical, but they carry. Now if I would have arranged, instead of 1 to 10, if I would have arranged 11, 12, 13 up to 20 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, then this is yet another arrangement of 74 numbers which is counted in this. However, in the box, first box they will be from 11 to 20, and second box they will be from 1 to 10. For all practical purposes, it is not making any difference. Therefore, these 5 boxes permute amongst themselves in 5 factorial ways. That is external permutation. 10 factorial and 8 factorial internal permutation. 5 factorial for 10 objects and 3 factorial for 8 objects, external permutation. Okay, and that is why if the boxes are identical, 74 factorial, number of ways of putting 74 distinct objects divided by 10 factorial raised to 5, 8 factorial raised to 3. Up to this also you have got the answer, many students, which is correct thinking. But then that is too large answer because you are not considering these 5 boxes can permute amongst themselves, which will result into the same packing problem which is counted earlier. So therefore, if the boxes are identical, this is the way. And if you multiply it by 8 factorial, if the boxes are distinct, that is the second method. Now let me quickly explain. I know time is up, but let me quickly explain the second method, which is, this is arrangement method. Arrange, permutation with repetition. So this is more permutation method of explaining. Now let me explain arrangement, or combination, that is selection. So you have total 74 objects. Again, those 74 objects can use, out of those 74 objects, and you have, now let us start with how many boxes we have? 8 boxes. 8 boxes, and let them be distinct. Let us start with boxes, distinct boxes. So box number, they are labeled box number 1, box number 2, like that. So box number 1 can take 10 objects. Out of these boxes, 8 boxes, you choose 5 boxes. Okay, so out of 8 boxes you choose 5 boxes. They are labeled, therefore I have chosen 5 boxes. Out of 74 objects which are distinct, you choose 10, put it in the first box out of 5 that you have chosen, and then 64 objects are remaining. Choose 64 objects, I mean 10 objects out of 64, put it into other box, and 54, choose 10 in the third, and 44, choose 10 in the fourth, and 34, choose 10 in the next. So 5 boxes you have filled. Now you are left with 3 boxes, and you are left with 24 objects. Into 24 choose 8, into 16 choose 8, into 8 choose 8. If we write this is the answer for a second problem. We are considering distinct boxes. So what is this answer? 8 factorial upon 5 factorial into 3 factorial into 74 factorial upon 10 factorial into 64 factorial into 64 factorial upon 10 factorial into 54 factorial into 54 factorial upon 10 factorial into 44 factorial into 44 54 gala 44 of factorial upon 10 factorial into 34 factorial into 34 factorial upon 10 factorial into 24 factorial into 24 factorial upon 8 factorial into 16 factorial into 16 factorial upon 8 factorial into 8 factorial into 1. Right? So now let us see who all gets cancelled out. 64, 64, 54, 54, 44, 44, 34, 34, 24, 24, 16, 16. How many tens in the numerator? You have 8 factorial, which tallies with this. In the numerator, you have 74 factorial, which tallies with this. In the denominator, you have 5 factorial, which tallies with this. In the denominator, you have 3 factorial, which tallies with this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 factorials, and 1, 2, 3, 8 factorials. So this is the second answer. And if you divide by 8 factorial, divide by 8 factorial to this answer to get a 1.
Sir, is there any like combination method for the first part? For
No combinatorial method. These are distribution problems. They are not identities. Combinatorial proof is normally for the identity. These are numerical problems. They are actual real life problems of distribution. So
like this one, like for the second problem you gave a